Well, I've made it to Rebecca Ruth's, and I'm gonna go inside and try some of these bourbon balls, and I think I solved the riddle. Come on, let's see if they'll give us a tour and see how they're made.
My name is Charles Boog. I am the third generation owner of Rebecca Ruth Candies. Well, Rebecca Ruth is world famous because my grandmother invented the bourbon ball in 1936. She started her business in 1919. That's right, we've been in business for a full century. All right, my grandmother was Ruth and her friend was Rebecca, so the name actually comes from two different ladies, and they used their first names to start the business, as the tradition of the day would have been a paternal style of using, say, Smith and Sons. However, they used their first names, which is maternal style. They started in 1919. They'd previously been substitute school teachers and decided to go into the candy business because they had made candies for Christmas gifts, and they were very famous for that. Well, I think that the quality that my grandmother always insisted on, she was noted as having perfect taste buds, so we were always very conscious of the quality of the ingredients that go into our chocolates, and we've really had to work hard to maintain that quality. We have been here since the 1960s, and it was the first property that my grandmother ever bought. The candy making process starts with the cacao bean. You take the cacao bean and you ferment it and then roast it, and then you grind it down into a liquid, and then it ready to flow onto the chocolate, onto the candy as a couverture. And all of that takes a great deal of work. To get the chocolate just right is an art. So many of our processes are all done by hand, from putting the pecan on by hand to packing the candy. There's just so much that goes into it. Chocolates and candy are almost all hand labor. Well, the things that are super special about Rebecca Ruth Candies is the candy. We think inside the box. So the taste has to come out.
I've got them! I can't wait to tell Kyle that I've solved the riddle. Let's go!
Elderflowers. What's this big sack of balls?
Those are bourbon balls. They are Rebecca Ruth bourbon balls, founded in 1919. I solved it this time, Kyle.
It appears you did. How did you manage to do that while you're out there exploring the waterways?
After I took a ride on the Thoroughbred, I went and saw Captain Nathan on the bourbon boat. And he told me to head over to Rebecca Ruth. Learned all about how those are made and even got to taste a few.
Well, while you were mixing chocolate and sugar and such with your bourbon, I was having it straight up at Buffalo Trace. They've uncovered bourbon making history.
Ooh.
And then the castle had vodka, gin, and they're working on a really tasty rye and bourbon that'll be ready in a few years. I may not have solved the riddle, but I feel really good. Speaking of which, I got you a drink, because we are at Bomb Bourbon on Main.
Oh.
You have a Bomb Old Fashioned, and I have a Main Street Manhattan.
They look great, Kyle.
I think they probably will be. You know what? Until next time.
We'll see you downstream.
Downstream.